if she's gone to stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Legendary singer-songwriter Neil Diamond has been delighting audiences for nearly 50 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Neil Diamond.
Often referred to as the Jewish Elvis, Diamond has earned 36 top 40 hits, with songs such as Sweet Caroline and Song Sung Blue.
Pretty amazing grace is who you are.
Over the last 4 decades, Diamond's been nominated for 12 Grammys and sold more than 115 million albums worldwide. And today, the musical legend is still touring the world, with concerts that draw millions of fans, many of whom sing along to the great classics.
Now I'm a believer.
Last month, he released his latest album, entitled Dreams, a string of interpretations from his favourite songs by other rock artists. He talked to me about this new format and his choice to try it out.
And I'm a believer.
It's kind of a dream album for me because I get a chance to record some of my all-time favorite songs from the rock era, and I'm excited to hear what people think of it.
Oh, well, let me tell you, you'll hear from them. We've had hundreds of viewers asking when the next tour starts and where it'll be. So can you fill us in?
Yes, well, we start to tour Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa in February and March, and I'm looking forward to that. And we'll see what happens beyond that. If they don't throw tomatoes, we'll continue the tour.
I'm sure they won't. Listen, your hits came during the 70s, the 80s and the 90s, didn't they? And you say you've really enjoyed this last album. You still command huge audiences. To what do you attribute that staying power, Neil?
Luck and the fact that I refuse to go away.
So let me get to some of the viewer questions here and not hog this interview. It's their part of the show. Hitoshi is a fan from Japan and says, you once revealed that Sweet Caroline was about Caroline Kennedy. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, of course. Well, it wasn't about Caroline Kennedy, but the name was inspired by Caroline Kennedy's name, which was, in the 60s, not a usual name. It was kind of unusual. And I remember writing it down when I saw a photo of Caroline Kennedy. She was a little girl, and I thought that name someday should be in a song. And I happened to be in Nashville, actually it was Memphis, in the late 60s, and I needed a song for the next day's recording session. And Caroline came out, and that's what it was. It was a Sweet Caroline song, and it's been sweet for me ever since.
If it wasn't inspired by Caroline Kennedy, who was it for?
It was inspired by the moment. You know, necessity is the mother of invention, and I needed a song, and it was sitting in the back of my mind for years. The title and why it was written, I don't know. Only God knows that.
Do you feel it's more important to put out material that will appeal to new fans? And this is a question from Matt in the States. Or do you want to just give your lifelong fans something you know they want to hear?
Well, I know it's impractical, but I'd like to make everybody happy. But first and foremost, I'm writing to please myself, because if I please myself, then I can continue to make the song as good as it possibly can be written, and hopefully someone else will catch on to it and like it as well. But I'm basically writing for myself.
Tom in Brazil says, is there a singer from the past that you wish you might have made a song with?
Well, I've been lucky. I've had Elvis record my music, and Frank Sinatra, Waylon Jennings, and Johnny Cash. Some of my all-time favorites, even my high school buddy Barbra Streisand recorded one of my songs. So, yeah, I guess maybe if I had the chance, Billie Holiday. I would have loved to have Louis Armstrong do one of my songs.
The Lady Gagas of this world?
Of course, as long as I don't have to dress like she does.
Good for you. Ed has written to us. He says, you've said, and I quote, songs are life in 80 words or less. He says, have you ever written a song that is so personal in nature that you could not release it commercially?
I have not written a song that I could not release, but I have written things in songs that were too personal, and I've had to change them to take that out of it.
Barb is a fan in the States. She says, if you could sit down to dinner with one person, Neil, living or dead, who would it be?
I'd have to say George Gershwin. He was one of the most brilliant writers of the 20th century, so I would have to pick his brain and find out where and what his modus operandi was in writing,